What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including full coverage on the fan who allegedly tried to kidnap WWE superstar Sonya Deville and stalked her for months, big news on SummerSlam's changes, and a first look at WWE Thunderdome. Chris Jericho shames the WWE. Virtually everyone has contacted AEW in the WWE. The real reason WWE is running Payback right after SummerSlam, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now our first story looks at something crazy as a man attempted to kidnap Sonya Deville. Yeah, shocking news coming from Florida as a stalker's alleged attempt to kidnap WWE superstar Sonya Deville was thwarted by Hillsborough County deputies. Deputies arrested 24-year-old Philip A. Thomas II after an alarm alerted the authorities to his presence inside Deville's Florida residence. Thomas had reportedly been stalking Deville for years and spent 8 months planning to abduct her. Here's what we know so far based on a report by the Tampa Bay Times. Thomas parked his car around midnight at Idlewild Church off Dale Mabry Highway and Van Dyke Road in Lutz and walked to a home on Pine Hammock Boulevard in the Promenade at Lake Park subdivision. Thomas cut a hole in the patio screen and remained on the patio 3 to 4 hours while watching and listening through the windows. At 2:43 a.m. after the homeowner had gone to bed, Thomas entered the home through a sliding glass door, activating the alarm. According to news sources including Fox 6, Deville and a guest fled the home by motor vehicle when they realized there was an intruder, with deputies responding urgently. According to the police, Thomas had been planning the abduction for 8 months. What the police discovered when they arrested him strongly suggests what he had in mind, as they discovered the suspect still inside the house with a mace, duct tape, plastic zip ties, and other items. Sheriff Chad Gronister talked about a tragedy was averted, saying, "It's frightening to think of all the ways this incident could have played out had the home alarm not gone off and alerted the homeowner of an intruder." The stalker had apparently driven hundreds of miles from South Carolina to abduct Deville, which he reportedly confessed to law enforcement. While details are still being pieced together, Ringside News reviewed Thomas's Twitter account and noted his Twitter timeline was full of nothing but Sonya Deville content. Retweets and other interviews of Deville can be seen. After browsing through, it seems like there were no indications of malice. His Twitter account was full of Sonya Deville retweets and other WWE posts about Sonya Deville. By all appearances, he seemed like a super fan of Deville and nothing more. Now, unfortunately, it's not always possible to tell the difference between a superfan and a stalker. Not surprisingly, the attempted abduction has renewed the conversation about what is sometimes a fuzzy line between superfans and stalkers. Just take a look at these creepy pictures. Do you think it's acceptable to pose like that? Okay, fair enough. Put your arm around the superstar if you've asked, and they're willingly consented. After all, you've probably shelled out about $50 for an autograph. But don't pose like you're in some sort of wedding photo. That's just too far. The one with Paige really creeps me out. Now, after some time, Sonya Deville took time to issue a statement on Twitter saying, "Thank you everyone for your love and concern. A very frightening experience, but thankfully everyone is safe. A special thank you to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office for their response and assistance." The WWE's Titus O'Neil talked to Florida's WFLA News Channel 8, issuing the following statement. "I have spoken to her and I'm glad she's safe, and I'm thankful and grateful that the Sheriff's Office took care of the situation immediately. Celebrity status aside, this is sickening. Like all celebrities, WWE superstars have to deal with overbearing fans, and as seen here, even flat-out creeps." Next up, welcome to the WWE Thunderdome. Now, the WWE has announced some big changes for when it begins running shows in the Amway Center, including an interactive experience with all the spectacular production values fans enjoyed until the pandemic forced the WWE to relocate to the PC. The WWE's Kevin Dunn spoke with Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso about some of the things fans can expect. "We can now do things production-wise that we could never otherwise do. We're flying drones in the arena, we are putting a roof inside the Amway Center, and we'll be able to project content onto the roof. So when a big star like Drew McIntyre comes down to the ring, the whole arena will turn into this content with lasers, pyro, smoke, projections on the top of the building and on the floor. It will be a big beautiful entrance, better than WrestleMania. Now these changes should definitely bring in fans, not only for the curiosity factor, but because some fans are just used to big crowds, bright light and senses shattering effects when they watch WWE. Now, WWE just confirmed this on their Twitter account and now photos have surfaced on construction. They're also giving fans a chance to send in their photographs to be part of the virtual crowd. I'm definitely going to be sending my face in, but I doubt anyone's even going to notice even if I wasn't there. But whatever the case, the WWE Thunderdome could be a great way to relaunch the WWE as it heads into SummerSlam and thereafter Payback. Next up, virtually everybody in WWE has reached out to AEW. Yeah, this is something Dave Meltzer confirmed on the Wrestling Observer Radio, reporting virtually everybody in WWE has reached out to AEW with inquiries about pay and whether there is any desire to sign them. According to Ringside News, the only person who has not contacted AEW is Roman Reigns. Reigns, who is quarantining at home during the pandemic, has repeatedly stated his devotion to the WWE and that he has no intention of ever leaving. But another superstar who made it quite clear he has no plans on leaving the WWE or didn't even contact AEW is Universal Champion Braun Strowman. In an exclusive story, Heel by Nature shared an exchange between the Monster Among Men and one of its staff that revealed Braun replied to an Instagram post from Heel by Nature contributor Jake's account to show his displeasure with the article, calling it fake news. The two exchanged messages, with Strowman stating he doesn't like being clickbait for lies. He even put this up on his story. Strowman is another WWE superstar whose loyalty to Vince McMahon is well known, but apparently a number of wrestlers don't feel the same way. Loyalty is supposed to run two ways, so given the WWE's treatment of superstars through the year, is it any wonder there are disgruntled wrestlers? Now, while some superstars have surely reached out to AEW, possibly the likes of Dolph Ziggler or even Cesaro, those names haven't been confirmed by any means, top superstars would surely be a little bit more satisfied for what they're doing in the WWE. Superstars like Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. If they're in a top position with the company, why would they ever contact AEW? Sometimes Meltzer's posts can be taken way out of context. Next up is WWE Payback, a ploy to punish AEW. Now that WWE has confirmed its Payback pay-per-view will air on 30th August, just a week after SummerSlam, fans are speculating why it's airing two events so close to each other. Ringside News' Steve Carrier chimed in on the situation, tweeting, "This needs to be settled because our readers keep asking. We have confirmed that AEW All Out has nothing to do with why WWE is holding Payback. The Scorched Earth conspiracy theory is fun, but it has nothing to do with it. That being said, enjoy 3 weeks of pay-per-views in a row." Now we probably aren't buying this for a second, and it's obvious that WWE is booking their show, at least in part, to burn people out on wrestling. The idea of a pay-per-view so close to the WWE's second biggest event of the year is extremely puzzling, and fans are likely going to get some quickly booked rematches and matches that belong on television, definitely with no big surprises. But what do you guys think of this show so close to SummerSlam and All Out? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Chris Jericho shames WWE. The wrestling world was in shock when WWE referee Mike Chioda was released after working for the promotion for 35 years. One person who wasn't going to ignore things was AEW star Chris Jericho, who convinced AEW president Tony Khan to bring Chioda back for the big match between himself and Orange Cassidy. During his Saturday Night Special YouTube show, Le Champion blasted the WWE for releasing Chioda.
35 years, a dude's been in your company, you're going to fire him? You know, and besides the fact he's a great guy and is such a talented performer and can run the whole backstage, but after 35 years, what's he supposed to do? Go get a job at freaking 7-Eleven? Like, shame on you, WWE. They did it to Mark Yeaton, who's a famous guy that's ringside guy. They still haven't been able to replace him yet. When I was looking for time cues, Mark was always the guy. 5, 4.
Jericho said he hopes AEW can rehire Chioda, and as we mentioned, he'd be a great addition to a promotion that needs a veteran referee. And finally, does Chris Jericho think he's the Fiend? Also during his Saturday Night Special, Le Champion also discussed his thoughts on how he sees the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
Honest thoughts on the Fiend. Love the Fiend. Love Wyndham Rotundo. It's kind of a mouthful of a name, but such a great guy and super smart, creative. And I think that's one of the reasons why he reminds me a little bit of me. He'll never be the same guy twice, because that's the true secret of having longevity in show business, is you can't be the same guy.
Now, Jericho has been going 30 years strong, and he definitely speaks from experience. But there you have it, guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.